Let's dive in. Okay, let's dive in today. And how do we manage change? How do we manage change as a team? And with the NAR regulations, changing, no one likes change, right? No one likes change. But how do I do it as a group of people? And what does that process look like? Because at the end of the day, really what it boils down to is process management and change management. Okay, process management and change management. How do I manage a process and how do I manage change? No one likes change, because everyone's used to a certain way of doing things. And when that, when a change happens, well, how do we navigate that and pivot and adjust, to that as a team? And so it really boils down to four different areas, right? It's very simple 4-step process to manage change and develop a new process as a team. Okay, so write these down. First one, step one is team. All right, make sure that the team is good and strong and sound. There's a concept in the book Good to Great. I was just talking about Good to Great the other day with Briemme, and in the concept of the book Good to Great, it's first who, then what. In any great team, any great organization, any great business, if I'm just an individual contributor, I still have a team. I still have a processor that does certain things. I partner with a lender. I have the client, right? Like we're all together, collaborating together as a team. And so we need the right people in the right seats to be able to do the right job. And so I need to make sure that the team is always good. That's step one. So for step one is team. Step two is create and commit. All right. Step two is create and commit. We need to create a plan and we need to do it together. Because when you do it together, you create, you get buy-in from the team. If you don't do it together and you just did this kind of command and control method of saying, hey, this is the process that I'm doing, I expect all of you to do it as well. Some might adopt that pretty quickly because it's what they would agree to as well. Not everyone though. And so if we need buy-in and we need to group everyone if we need everyone on the same page, we need to do it together. So we create a plan, we create a dynamic and everything of what it is that we want to do, and then we commit to that plan. That's simple. So step two is create and commit. Step three, over communicate the plan. That's it, over communicate. So step one, the team. Step two, create and commit. Step three, over communicate what it is that you said that you were going to do. And the last one is reinforce. Step four is reinforce. That's it. That's simple and that hard. Right? So we need to make sure that the team is good. We need to make sure that we're creating a plan together as a group. And then we are over communicating what it is that we said we were going to do. And finally, we reinforce. One of the 4 C's that we talk about regularly is coach each other. You are obligated to coach each other. Well, it's really hard to coach each other if you don't have a fixed process to adhere to and to coach to. So when change is coming, we need to have a very fixed process that we've created together as a team with A players, right? We call our team members A players, right? And if you haven't heard me talk about A players, I define A players into 3 different categories: character, competence, and commitment. People of great character, highly competent individuals, and they're committed to themselves and they're committed to the team. They're all in. And so we have a team of A players coming together to create a plan. Then we're over communicating what that plan is to the team, right? We're reminding ourselves, reminding the team, and reminding our clients and everyone that's involved externally outside of the team, and we're reinforcing it, right? Hey, good job. You're giving the attaboys, and you're also calling out when there's a mistake. Or if we deviated from the process, hey, we know that we're deviating from the process and we're all on the same page with that. And so that's it. Those are the 4 very simple steps on what we need to do. And so whether you're leading a team, whether you're an individual, you need to make sure, okay, where am I at in this process? Do I have the right people in place to navigate whatever this change is going to be? Do we have a very clear process, right? Remember, clear, not clever, right? It doesn't need to be hard or overly complicated or fancy. Like, don't outsmart yourself. Just make it very clear, very simple. And because you need people, if it's not simple, it's not clear, it's not short, right? People aren't going to remember it. And if they don't remember it, they can't over communicate it. And if they can't over communicate it, they can't reinforce it either. And they can't coach each other to it. So again, those are really the 4 steps. And so I like when preparing for this, right? Like, okay, how do we manage change as a team? Okay, we have a full hour to do that. And as I'm saying, I'm like, hey, well, this is it. I'm done here, and it took me 5 minutes to do that, right? And to talk about it. So I say, so what I want to do here, actually, as a group, is I want to show you how to go through that. And today, so next week we have Leo Perea coming in with Austin. Those two are going to do their thing, and then the 25th we're going to have a continued group discussion, which is what we're going to dive into today. And today, what we're going to do is we're going to talk through the change that's happening and how are we going to create a process as a group, right? I know there's going to be state differences and things like that, but collectively, let's call it 80% is all going to be the same. And and the experience that we're trying to create, and the long-term sustainability of our operation, those are the goals. And if that's what we're going to do, this is it. So cool. So Michael Corey, let me ask you a question. So of the 4 steps that I talked to you about, which one do you struggle with the most, and which one do you just crush out of the park?
I think we're rather clear on our steps. I think that's one that we crush out of the park. I think over communicating is one that we struggle with collectively, right? Yeah. We have a lot of platforms to communicate on, but actually doing it is something I think that we struggle with a little bit, myself included.
Yeah. Give me an example.
We have our WhatsApp group, right? And I don't think that it is utilized to the best that it could be, or the plan may not be communicated between team members and or solo agents within our brokerage.
Got it. So it could be that the plan is clear maybe to a select group of individuals, right? But not necessarily the whole mass. And that could be a possible breakdown of the over communication.
Right.
Okay. How are you at the reinforcement piece?
Reinforcement. Explain that to me one more time. Make sure I'm on the same page.
It could be accountability. It could be coaching. It could be validating. Hey, you're doing a good job.
So we do two, with our solo agents as well as with our team agents, we do 2 sets of trainings a week, not just us training, but of course you guys and other aspects when it comes to our team as well, right? And then we also do accountability once a week with our team. That's a group accountability. So it's not just us holding them accountable. It's as well as the team agents holding each other accountable for the goals that they set, not the goals that we set for them. Yeah. So I think we're pretty good with the reinforcement, but I think communication would even bring it even higher.
How are you navigating the current change with the NAR regulations?
Lightly, not as much as we would want to be right now. A lot of it got brought up to us. Well, we knew about it, but a lot of it got brought up to us, and we realized last week that a lot of our solo agents, at least a few of our team agents, I'm sure as well, were not as well versed as we thought they would be, right? So we're bringing it back around. That's actually our topic for Friday, and just going to start communicating and talking about every aspect of it and learning from you guys and taking it from there.
Okay. All right. So here's a structure for you, right? Okay, and also those 4 things. So you start with the first 2. Okay. Hey, do we have the right people in the right seats here? And with that, you check in. Hey, how are you? Because if you don't have the right team with the right mindset to navigate change, it's really hard to change. And so Jordan Hill, let me jump over to you.
Awesome.
What's your biggest concern right now with the change ahead?
Biggest concern, I would say, potentially buyers going straight to the listing agent once they kind of figure everything out. But it hasn't really come to that. We're getting all of our buyer brokers signed. It is not difficult. Everyone's signing them. So we're really well educated. As much info is out there. Leo's, when he went live on YouTube was awesome. We take advantage of everything. So we feel really confident and well versed in it. So I'm really proud of them. But
what's your process? Walk me through Like, what do you what are you doing? Like, how are you making it? Hey, it's when you say, hey, it's not that difficult.
Yeah.
Like, what's not that difficult? Like simplify that for me.
Yeah. So how to present it to buyers that have never signed one in the past.
Okay.
If it's someone that's never purchased in the past, that's really easy. They're like, "Ah, okay, perfect."
Yeah.
It's ones that have purchased before and have never signed it in the past, or they're interviewing multiple agents, deciding who to hire, and the other agent has not asked them to sign it, and they're like, "Well, that agent didn't ask me to sign it."
Right.
So we focus mostly on those people, and that is because we role play a lot.
Okay.
And we go to trainings from on a state level, EXP level, pretty much any training we can. And it's our team members. I mean, credit to them. Belinda on this call finds every single training that is offered and tells the team, and
Yeah.
we go. And so, so we just, but yeah, a lot of role playing. And when we get one signed, we share it with the team, exactly how that went, what their objections were, and how we overcame it. So that helps too.
Beautiful. Beautiful. You guys hearing the patterns when she's speaking? Okay, team, create together, right? She's literally calling the team out right here on this call, and they're creating a process together. They're over communicating and they're reinforcing by sharing the wins. Right. Like you'll see that pattern. And so you just have to understand, hey, are we doing that effectively the right way? And is it in that order? And so nice, very nice, Jordan. Austin Freiberger, you and I were having a conversation earlier. And what's your biggest concern right now with all the changes?
I'm not sure that it's a concern so much, but I guess if I had to boil it down to one word, it would be implementation. So lots of changes coming and just being well versed to practice on how to implement those changes. And then my other worry would be realtors not being on the same page. So my process is really not going to change as far as listing appointments and saying, hey, we're going to do 6-7% or whatever your percentage is in your respective state. But I think realtors need to be on the same page and keep that going. And if we all work together to do that, I think we're going to be okay. But I guess that's my biggest concern would be just implementation and making sure everybody's on the same page.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. I could see, say, you put in the purchase agreement, that, say the seller to pay, the buying agent's brokerage, and the listing agent not even knowing what that meant.
Yeah. So learning how
explain
to
it.
articulate that to maybe less experienced agents on the listing side is going to be very important in the future too. So
Yeah.
again, just making sure everybody's on the same page and keeping this thing going. So yeah.
Yeah. Alfredo, say that out loud.
Just kind of piggybacking off of Austin, I'm worried that we're going to have a lot of agents or a group of agents that aren't going to be on the same page. And I think what it boils down to for me is I'm worried that you're going to have a subsection of agents that are going to be willing to work for next to nothing. And that's going to be just another obstacle to have to get over.
Mm.
It's going to be, Alfredo, it's going to be very similar to what we saw on the listing side with commission compression, except it's just going to be on the buyer side now.
Hmm.
And if you take the page out of Austin Cheviron's book, that means we all get a raise because we'll all raise to 4%.
Yeah, exactly. David Quintrell, let me hear from you real quick. So you have, you got a team, you're still producing, and you've been through this for a little while now.
Yep.
How have you navigated this, the change just as an individual, producer, and then how have you navigated it with your team?
So for me, I used to use buyer agency agreements. When I started a team a long time ago, we kind of got away from it when it got crazy. And, we're in Washington State,
Is that because of you got away from it? Why?
Well, you know, it got, you know, we're dealing with way too many buyers, just that crazy market that we were in a couple of years ago, where it was like, just keep your head down and keep selling houses kind of thing. And it was just chaotic. So probably not a good decision, but just drifted away from having them because we were going to sell houses no matter what at that point. But we've gotten back into it because they passed a law in Washington State that we have to have a buyer agency agreement. We've been doing that for about, I don't know if it's been 6 months now, but we've had a lot of conversations about it. It's been very easy. The conversation that I go to, because I heard a couple of people say, like, what if people are doing it without it or without, you know, or for less? One is that there was a great answer that I can't remember who, I think it was Austin gave that about, is it Austin or Alfredo, about the compression and having to deal with that on the listing side. We dealt with that with Redfin and all those other things. You're still going to be, you know, show your worth and you'll get paid kind of thing. Well, you know, we talk to people that are interviewing multiple agents, and I go to, it is a law that we have this sign, and we're dealing with a lot of laws when we're when we're helping you sell a house or we're helping you buy a house. And if you're talking to somebody that's willing to operate outside of the law, they're going to put you at risk. And is that really somebody you want to align yourself with? You know, I tend to not try to slam other agents, but if they're going to go straight and be illegal, then I'll go there. So, it hasn't been difficult to use the buyer's fee agreement for us. Washington State, or the big MLS here, also kind of said, we're not going to cooperate with what all of NAR says. I don't know if everybody's heard that yet, but they're not doing the whole not advertising the commission thing. We're still going to have the advertised commission. So that's, you know, sorry guys, but we're not having to deal with that. For the team, it was teaching them the scripting on how to present the buyer brokerage agreement is what ours is called, and just how to present that and overcoming objections that they have. And what we found is a lot of the objections were their own. It was a story that they were saying in their head, and it wasn't realistic. If you just give this paper to them and they're gonna sign it. Just explain it to them and they sign it. There really haven't been many objections. Jordan said they've been using it for a while now too. So,
that's awesome that you just said that. And just to kind of call out what you were just saying, David, is, you know, most times whenever we start something new, right? Whatever you're doing in life, doesn't matter if it's in the, you know, the physical fitness space, the picking up the phone and selling space, it doesn't matter, right? It more times than not, it's awkward only to you, not to both parties. And so if you, the quicker you are aware of that, like that behavior, you know, the quicker you're overcome it. And doing things like Jordan was saying, like role plays and really understanding what the document is. David, how often are you like going over the actual contract and doing role plays and working with your team? Like talk through that. Like when you were initially doing it, like were you investing more time in that with your team, or talk through that a little bit?
Yeah, we were spending a lot of time, and we were, you know, luckily take advantage of, I think Jordan talked about it. I think it was you that was talking about take every training you can, right? And so we were encouraging the whole team, like, don't lift the weight off your shoulders a little bit, get them involved with other people. So we had, when this was happening, it was a huge change for our state. And there were trainings left and right. I mean, there was, you could probably go to one every day of the week for the month before it went into play. And it's gleaning off those other people and pulling a little bit of knowledge from each thing you get in. And so we were telling everybody, hey, go take this training. Hey, this recording was great. We're going to send it to the team. And then role playing, we did a little bit of it, but honestly, by the time you heard it all and all that, we were pretty well versed. And then I recorded me actually presenting it, got that to the team, and nobody's had any issues really.
Yeah. Now with the trainings, and this will be my last question for you, and we'll keep moving. With the trainings, I mean, the actual concrete process to move is very, very black and white, right? You get this sign and you keep moving.
Mhm.
You know, with the trainings,
Yeah.
it's the expression of how to convey and to communicate that. Is that what I'm hearing? And that's where you were. So when you say,
Yeah.
hey, go to this training, it's not necessarily education around the event itself. It's education around how to communicate what is happening to the person, and that's where you get all the different variations. Correct?
Yeah, that's true. The scripting behind how to present that document, and then there's the legal part of the document. There is really, like, they did a 4-part series because our, Washington, we overdo it. So our buyer brokerage agreement is 3 pages long. And so it was how to legally know what you're talking about. And then that doesn't matter. It's just like getting your real estate license. Okay, now you have your license. Now you have to figure out how to sell real estate, right? Now you have to figure out how to present it. And that's what the trainings that we were really pushing were the ones around the scripting and presenting it and putting it so people understood it.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Thank you, my friend. Let me go to where is she at? Let me go to Nina. Where's Nina at? I'm gonna remove spotlight.
I'm here.
Okay. I'm gonna spotlight you here for the group.
Uh-oh.
So right now, what are you, what was your takeaway? So I just, hey, how do we manage change, right? How do we manage change as a team? Okay, let's focus on the team. Let's check in. Let's do that. How do we, let's create and then make sure we're all committed. And these things could be the same. Might not even have to create, like a new process. NAR aside, you might not even have to create, but we do have to commit. And we're just checking in. Are we committed? And then we're over communicating what that plan is. Michael Corey was talking earlier around, hey, we kind of struggle here. And Michael, hopefully you're writing some stuff down, like say from David and Jordan. And a lot of times, Michael, it's just you doing the work and making sure you are over communicating, leading by example, and everyone else will follow. And the other tip, Michael, is to say, hey, say you go to Riami, hey, Riami, this is what we're doing, yada, yada, yada. Can you go tell Austin Freiberger, this same thing? And you force the over communication and you just do that chain effect. Okay. So, and the last piece is reinforcing, right? So Nina, with you right now in our current environment, what's your biggest fear, right? You sit in a different, you sit in a different seat. You're still producing. You're growing a team. You're really dialed in. You're getting focused, and you're becoming more and more successful at what it is that you do. With the change that's happening, what's your biggest concern with everything? Where are you at?
So in North Carolina, we already had a buyer agency agreement that we would get signed at least at the point of putting in a contract.
Yep.
So that was a given. And I have coached my team. In fact, one of my notes was to make a Loom recording. Is that what it's called? Like a recording of me going over my buyer agency agreement for several reasons. Number one, for my agents to listen to on repeat so they can literally create it as a script in their mind. And they can do it on their own. So that's one thing. Number two is so that if I'm going to send these documents to a buyer to sign, that they could watch the video. Now, I have this rule within my team, and it does take an hour of our time, that nobody is to send any documents to any buyers or sellers unless they are sitting on a 1-hour Zoom face-to-face with them, going over it on our screen. Do not send those documents until we've reviewed it and we've gone over all of these sticky points that we don't like that are in the contract, and we've explained it in detail.
And you're so say that one more time. That was really good. So you have a rule, you have a policy on your team.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So repeat that for me.
Nobody's to send any documents ahead of time when it comes to signing an agency agreement, whether it's buyer or seller. We review everything face to face on our screen. We share our screen on Zoom.
Yep.
And then we go over it, and there are some yucky points in North Carolina's contract, and we review it and we point it out, and we come right out and we tell them it's a script. It sounds the same way every time. I say something to make everybody laugh at the same point every time, and they all laugh at the same point every time. It's a script. And so now my agents are kind of getting there. They're doing it more and more. They're not at the volume that I'm at. So my issue has nothing to do with coming up with NAR. My issue is that I'm leaving the country for a month, and my agents are going to do everything that I do. And I don't know if I have the full confidence right now after what I've seen in the last week and a half. But that's a different story. But in terms of how this NAR thing is changing us here in North Carolina, I am so cash when I talk to, even if it's a brand new buyer and we get them on, I say to them, guys, listen, everybody had to sign this before. Now we're required to have it signed before you walk in the house. So we're just going to get it out of the way on our first, we'll set up another Zoom for it. That way we're covered and nobody's getting in trouble. And the more relaxed you make it, the more casual, the more friendly you make it. At least for our team, it's worked phenomenally. So everybody, I have 3 agents out right now showing houses today on my behalf, thank God. And they all have buyer agency signed. Like, it's fine.
Yeah.
So that part I'm not worried about. I think the part I wasn't thinking about that other people are bringing up because of maybe the situation in other states is, oh, I didn't think that the buyer's going to go around me to the seller's agent. But at least here in North Carolina, it sounds like that seller's agent will not work with an unrepresented buyer. So it's sounding like that, at least in my area, that's not like they're going to refuse to do that because it's not going to work out very well. We also have an unfortunate situation here. You may have heard me say before, where we have some agents that give away half of their commission just to get a buyer. And
it's the commission compression that Austin Freiberger was talking about earlier. Yeah.
They're already giving away half their commission. So I before all this was like, oh, I took the side of I'm getting a raise. Like, boy, I'm going to put my resume out there. I'm worth more than all this. But I am competing against those. And listen, there is enough business out there. I always say, let them go. 3 more good ones will come in for the bad one you let go away. So.
Yeah. I believe that at that moment, when you start seeing people around you, cutting their commissions in half just to try to win, I would say, hey, let me actually double, right? Or do a 1.5 multiplier. And mathematically, it actually makes more sense because the people that are going to say yes to a higher commission anyway, they're probably going to go to like that much more of a commission, and you're demonstrating the value because every single one of us is wired. Hey, I'm going to do more than I'm paid to do. So compensation drives behavior. Therefore, if I'm paid more, I'm going to do more. And that's
for the listing side, speaking of paying more, the way that we're now kind of splitting it out, because EXP has a form that we're required to have signed that says like, hey, you're paying the listing side this side and the buying side this side, right? So we're starting the listing conversation with that and saying our professional fee for everything that you see that we're going to do is 3.6%. Okay. And then the buyer's side, if you agree to pay this, would be 2.4%. But if you want everything that Nina offers, it's at 3.6. And that has actually gone a lot better as well, because they're not just hearing 6, they're starting with you, and then they're adding in the buyer piece.
Really good. Really good. Thanks for sharing all that. This is good stuff. Okay, let me jump to, where are they at? Where's the Abners? Here we go. The Abner group. I'm going to spotlight you all. There they are. Look at that good looking bunch. Oh, she cuts the video out.
Wrong button. Sorry.
How are you all?
We're doing well. Thank you.
Good. Okay. Let me, one of, not Diana, but someone else answer this. Being a team member, what's your greatest fear right now? So you're on the team. You have Jim and Diana as your quote unquote leaders. And where are you at with your individual business? We have a big change, that's coming, right? And does it worry you? What are you concerned about? Where are you at right now?
I'm me personally, I'm not worried at all because we're newbie agents. So we're coming into this like this is just the new norm. So I'm not worried at all. I don't know.
Yeah, we're all baby agents
Yeah.
since the beginning of the year.
Yeah.
So, I mean, for us, I would rather go into being a real estate agent
Yeah.
with the new changes and that be
Yeah.
my norm.
And I keep hearing like, that might be like a raise. So I'm like, I like that. So I love negotiating, and as Diana said, it's going to be all negotiation, and if you can stand still and be a rock, then you don't really have much to worry about, and just keep learning. So
Now, I'm a veteran. I've had my license longer than anybody in this room. But my fear, I really don't, I think for me, it's more about education to the buyer and to the seller. I think when you make a relationship with your clients, they're trusting you. And if you just educate them, let them know where this is coming from and why this is happening, I think we're going to be okay. And I do kind of agree with a few of them over there that said, the discounted agencies, I've run across that for years. I just think it may be more prevalent going forward than it's ever been. So it's just kind of where my thought is.
Yeah. Yeah.
what about you, Mario?
What was that?
I'm trying to get Mario to say something.
You won't.
Was it Mario? Is that what I heard?
Yeah.
Mario. Hey, Mario. Okay, I'm going to ask you a question. All right, Mario. So hey, I'm a buyer. All right. And I'm going to look for a house, and I'm dealing with you, right? I run into you in the supermarket. Okay, let's just make this extreme. I run into you in the supermarket. You're a long lost friend, and I see you. You let me know that you're in the business right now. You let me know that you're in real estate. I'm looking for a house. You make that connection. You're saying, hey, I'd love to represent you. And I said, hey, I just hear there's this new change that's happening in the industry right now, that I don't have to pay you. Like, what does that mean? Go.
Okay, so I run into this person. I had this good conversation with them. There is a rapport there.
Mhm.
And I would just say, well, actually, what the new change is that now you and I get the opportunity to talk about what it looks like when you want to purchase a home and what that will cost you, not only in the financing and putting in an offer for a property, but also what my fee is in regards to that process. So really, I would just mention that my part of this process and me getting paid is much more important to talk about now, beginning that search, just so that you're more informed and know what options you have, and can make a better decision on when you want to buy a home and if now is a good time to do it.
Diana, how do you do?
You're okay. We're going through the whole month of June. We're going through nothing but these documents because here in Indiana we have so many now between the single property and then the buyer's exclusive, the amendment, the mutual release to the amendment. I mean, there's so many different forms, and we're going to be going through role playing heavily, more so than ever, just because everybody's got to feel comfortable in this, especially with our newer agents who this is the new norm for them. And
Yeah,
they
Mario,
don't know
Mario,
that.
good job, man. That's put you on the spot, and you did good. You did
He
good.
didn't sweat.
Yeah, you did good. Look at him. Yeah.
They did fine. We just went through all the forms today, or most of the bigger forms today too. So that was even better.
Yeah, that's beautiful. I mean, like, thank you guys. Thank you. So I mean, at the end of the day, like like I was saying, I mean, it's a very simple process. I mean, the more that, okay, let's make sure that the team is good, right? Like people are, you're either going to have brand new people, that saying, hey, I'm I'm new to the industry anyway, so I have nothing necessarily to be concerned with because I don't know any different. So I'm just going to move forward as is and crush it, right? You're gonna have people who's been in the industry for a very long time, and they're worried that all of these other dumbass agents out there won't have a freaking clue on how to explain it. That's going to cost me my paycheck, right? And then you're going to have clients out there that are confused with what's in the media and news and everything. And they're going to say, I don't have to pay you anymore because that's what I heard on the news. And so you just have all of these other things, all of these things that are happening all simultaneously. So the more that you stand on your own 2 feet confidently and communicate what the process is, the process like the back of your hand, you'll be great. It's that simple, but you got to do the work. You got to do the work. You got to train. You got to educate yourself. You have to know it. And then get reps, right? And work together, like do those role plays. Role plays are amazing when you do that, right? Do this, lean on our Facebook community, our Cheviron coaching community. If you're not on a specific team, right? Partner with other people in different markets. We have some of the best in the country here on these calls, week in and week out. And I would say, hey, someone from even on the other teams, right? Say someone from the Hilltop group, right? Go call Riami over in Virginia Beach. How are we doing this over in Oregon compared to Virginia? And you know what I mean? Like how is that translate? There's going to be state specific things that will differ, right? And that's okay. And it's good to understand just different processes and things of that nature. You want to understand your process, but it's also good to understand diversity and how the law works and how it fits in with people's mindset and how they make buying decisions or not, and different ways of communicating things. Because that's what it boils down to, is when you have all this misinformation, how do we communicate accurately and precisely what the right information is? And again, stand confidently on that. So let me go to Corey Williams. How are you all?
Hola, amigo.
All right. Where do you all sit with the NAR regulations and the change?
Yeah, we're in the group of no concern. If I had to pinpoint something, it would be communication from the seller's agent, right? Just people not wanting to have a conversation, and then possibly, let's just say, you build that into the contract, a fair commission. And then you've got other people that maybe talk to them and they've got the commission that they're getting paid by, someone else. So just putting people in an unfair position due to lack of communication from a seller's agent, that would be the only practical play out that I have a concern about. Just had a buyer's consult today. It's up in the air in terms of, how the conversations will shake out, how the commissions will get rolled into their financing if there's not a co-op being offered. So pretty simple and easy. We thankfully have very simple contracts here that are heavily favored for the buyer. And our agency agreement is spelled out with great intention and clarity. So we're not anticipating any massive changes here other than, occasionally there needing to be either a gap made up and the difference of what they're offering and what we charge as a fair success fee. And then secondly, just, being partnered with the right lenders that know how to write that in. So just being upfront and honest about, hey, here's how, even if the commission needs to be rolled in, it still has to appraise. So, just being in a position of knowing the market, understanding what homes are worth, the activity in the market, and being able to have that conversation prior to putting an offer package together. So, we're prepared and ready, I anticipate over the next month, we'll have more and more conversations like that. But for the most part, when people ask me what's changing, my answer is pretty clear. Not much. Some conversations we have to have a little bit differently, but keeping you informed is the most important part of the whole process.
Yeah, beautiful. And you are the chief relationship officer, right? And so you're really good at managing a process, managing a relationship. Excuse me. So you are really good at managing process and working through that. How's your team feel right now? Like with all of that, are you all able to articulate the process and explain the process as well or better than Corey? That's a yes or no question. Are you able to explain it?
I'm going to say yes. I know these people, and I know
Okay.
and we're putting the good word out there for everybody. So we're all operating with the same integrity and the same explanation. So definitely on the same page.
Team got me water. That was good. That's why you bring good people around you. It was Austin Freiberger. He's the one who just came in, and that's good. So when if you were to leave for a month, let's say out of the country, like let's say like Nina was talking about earlier,
I am going to.
you feel confident that the team is going to run and work a very particular process, a very well-defined process that creates the best client experience possible.
Yeah. No doubt in my mind.
Okay. How do you do that? How do you all get on the same page? Okay, there's a way to do that, right? How do you all get on the same page to where if any one of you leave, how do you all know that you're all working within the same structure?
Does anybody want to answer that, or would you like for me?
I would love to hear someone other than Corny. He just keeps talking and talking and talking.
Hey, Nate, I think we have processes in place. We have a thorough database of documents and procedures, and we focus heavily on training, which would be the over communication plan and the reinforcement. So we are constantly training and have anything we need to look up. There's guidelines for it. So we're pretty confident that we can take over once our team leader leaves for a month to Africa in a safari where he won't have any cell phone communication. We're pretty secure and safe in how we would handle situations.
Perfect. How do you all get on the same page? So how do you teach, and how do you teach and work with others on the process that you run?
Well, we do have several communication tools such as Slack, et cetera. And then that's where we update each other on what's going on. Corey is always available for questions and answers. And essentially, let's say he was leaving for a while, we will have a couple of weeks of planning of what's coming ahead and how to handle it, how to tackle what's coming ahead, what potentially can happen while he's gone.
Yeah. And when you plan, is it Corey who plans, or do you plan all together?
We plan all together because we'll bring up stuff that he hasn't maybe thought about.
Mm-hmm.
So each one of us has a unique. They will have scenarios in their mind that maybe the others haven't. Mm-hmm. So that way we can bring up situations that are potential, may not really happen or not likely to happen. However, they're potential. So we try to cover all the bases.
And you all commit to whatever it is that you come up to the conclusion on. Say, hey, you all work together on a plan. Say, hey, this is the plan that we're going. Are we a green light on this? Yes or no? And you all give a thumbs up and you commit, right? And then you over communicate and then reinforce that plan, is what I'm hearing.
And then the reinforcement is also very important. As we have a meeting 2 weeks ago and things keep going, then it's always good to keep communicating what our values are and then reinforcing them with specific scenarios.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, beautiful. I would always, with our real estate team, if I left, for 2-3 months, a lot of times it came back better. Because if you get a whole team bought in and everything, and you put everyone else in, in the captain's chair simultaneously, right? And you get them all building together like you all have done beautifully. And that's, what you're saying. Thank you for sharing what you've shared, all of you. You're doing it beautifully, and you're operating like a true team, right? Like you're linked. I can hear it, right? Hey, we're all linked together. We're all bought in. We're all on the same page. If we agree, if we disagree, right, with a certain process or way of practicing the way that we want to practice, you feel like you can say it, and you do say it, right? And like we talked about how to have difficult conversations a little while back, right? You could have that straight talk, and you feel like you can be vulnerable, and you can be transparent with the rest of the group, and you say it, right? And then you throw those ideas and thoughts into the melting pot, and you try to stir it up, and you try to come out, and you say, yeah, that's it. Let's do it. Let's move forward. And it's just a clear, concise, consistent process. And we say, let's just keep doing that over and over. And if it breaks, we'll repeat and we'll redo it again. But it's not broken yet. So anyone who comes into this team, right, we will reinforce and we'll coach and we'll make sure that everyone's on the same page. That's what I'm hearing. And that's a beautiful round of applause, to all of you that are doing this. I hear it from all of you. This is really good stuff. And it's hard to do that, right? I hear it from, Michael Corey, Jordan Hill. Like I hear it from all of you guys. Nina, like you're running really good teams. And you have, the Abners, like all of you guys, you have a really good, solid team. But it's like, then, but how do we continue to be better and get more dialed in? And, and it's very simple, right? Okay, let's just get the team all in alignment, right? Let's figure out, hey, is this the best plan? Are we committed to the best plan? Are we over communicating what that plan was? And then are we reinforcing it? Right? Are we communicating it to everyone? And then are we reinforcing what it is that we said we wanted to do? Whether it's through pats on the backs or, or constructive feedback saying, hey, you said that you were going to do this and you intentionally did not do it. Why? And we're calling them out on it. We're holding them accountable in a positive way because I care about you. You're not doing what you said you wanted to do. I understand we drift. I understand laziness creeps in. I understand, we're tempted in one way or another, but hey, you said this and you didn't do it. And it's not the team lead necessarily doing it. It's the partners on the team. It's the peer-to-peer accountability, right? That's what I heard around the table with, with Corey and everyone else there, right? That's what I'm hearing, right? It's the peer-to-peer accountability. And like, hey, I got your back and I know you have mine. I'm going to call you out. And it's a beautiful thing. So well done. So we have a handful of minutes left. Okay. What are some of just overarching questions, related to, what's top of mind? It could be related to your team, how we navigate this change, how we, just you individually, and how you're changing your processes in business. Where are you at right now? What's some main questions or thoughts or comments?
Well, I would ask, like, instead of what are we fearful of, what are we excited about with the change?
Yeah,
I'm kind of excited about it, and I think it will do numbers for those that can articulate. Not much has changed right now. Our brokerage is actually meeting this week to discuss like exactly how they're planning on handling it. But to me, it's exciting. I feel like it's going to be a change. With change is uncomfortableness, but that's where growth comes. I don't know. So I'd be curious what anybody else is excited about.
And that's going to be the topic actually for the 25th is where we're at. Let's we'll flip it. And so beautiful. So you are so I'm almost hearing right now you are it's like I don't know if this is what you were saying or not, but the phrase that came to mind is like a new beginning. And it's just a nice reset button and, in a way to, just, okay, it just levels the playing field and to a certain degree. And now you can come up and, and just.
Yeah, I think leveling the playing field is probably the best way to put it because, it's exciting to me. at first I was like, oh man, buyer, we got to get this thing. This is never like, I've never actually used one prior to now. And knowing that we have to, like, it's comforting that if you're talking to a buyer, number one, you should, I'm referral based. So I'm pretty much all relationships anyway. So I'm not like fearful about it. But what makes it even more comforting for me is that even if they decided, oh, I don't like that, I'm going to go somewhere else, everybody else is going to have this signed as well. So there's no way around it. And I forget who said it earlier, but unless an agent is not abiding by the law, and then is that who you really want to partner with anyway? So it's, level the playing field. It's exciting. It's a new change, and hopefully it'll trim some of the fat. And, if they don't want to sign it, they probably weren't the right buyer, or not even a buyer to begin with. It's another layer of qualifying your people, so we're not all, from a buyer side, driving around all over town, wherever that may be, to just try to service somebody who's not even really ready.
Beautiful. And and to wrap this up, right, we're like I said, I mean, the process itself on how we manage change, especially as a team, but even as an individual, it's very simple, right? Okay, you start with the individual, you start with the team, you start with the dynamic, you start with the people, right? Then you come with the plan and the commitment, and then the communication, right? Like, hey, let's really roll this out, whether it's to our team, whether it's to our vendors, right? We heard talking about, whether it's a lender or a title, right? Everyone's on the same page of what's happening, where I'm at with my individual business, our clients, the other agents. And, and then we're reinforcing it, right? Especially internally on our team. And a lot of us are doing these practices, whether you're aware of it or not, right? Hopefully this kind of creates some structure for you as as we scale, because this is why you want this structure in here, because it helps with scalability and long-term sustainability of your team. And if there's ever a breakdown in your process, right, or a breakdown in maybe some of the dynamics on your team, like, you can pinpoint, okay, where did I miss? Where are we missing as a team? And all right, hey, our team dynamic isn't good right now, and we got to fix this, right? Or hey, we're not collaborating and working together to create these processes. That buy-in's getting lost. Hey, we're not committing together to collectively as a group. We're getting in silos. Hey, these two people are committing, but these 5 people are not. Why? Okay, well, it's because you probably haven't done it as a group, and you're not working together, and we're not getting committed together. Or there's a communication plan. There's a gap there where we're not constantly over communicating and reinforcing what the plan was. And it's like, okay, well, people forgetting. Hey, we came up with this beautiful, brilliant process and plan, and how to create the best client experience possible to make sure that we're running really efficient, we're running really agile as a team, and we're becoming very profitable as a team. We had a great plan in place, but we're not communicating it anymore, and we just kind of left it there after the plan, and everyone's doing their own thing. And so, like, why is it? So we have breakdowns now within any change that happens, and it's that simple 4-step process. This is something that I use all the time I'm using this right now with our Cheviron coaching team, because we're constantly changing and pivoting, and our team dynamic is adjusting, so how do we make sure that we're agile? Okay, well, we need a really strong team in place. We need to make sure that we're all speaking into what the plan is, and we're over communicating what the plan is and reinforcing and validating, hey, that was good. Hey, no, we need to adjust. And then we're reworking the process again. But it all starts with the team. So it's a very, very simple, tight system, right? But we just making sure that you're aware of what it is that you're doing as we're navigating this, because you're gonna have more people come in to the picture, and it's easier on you as the team lead, or just senior leaders on a team or senior partners on a team. When new people come in, you then can now do the same thing together. Cool. Lana, last question. We'll wrap this thing up.
I was curious because I'm a lender, and some of the comments about the lender being with a good lender and knowing how they can do it. So I was just wondering, are some of these fees going to be financed into the loan some way? I had not heard that on my side.
Anyone want to speak to that? Austin Freiberger, I saw you unmuted. Do you have a comment?
I just heard rumblings that could be a possibility, but I think that's a conflict of interest somewhere along the line. But
Does anyone have any information on that? About the fees being able to, and the question was, Lana, like you're able to roll the fees within the mortgage itself? Is that?
Well, no, I had not heard that in my business side at all. So I just heard a comment today, and I don't know if they were even in Indiana, but they had said something about that they may be able to, if you work with a good lender, that they can finance. I thought they said something about financing it, and I was just like, I had not heard that. I had heard that we were not going to be able to do that.
I'm not sure. Riami, go ahead.
The only thing I know is about, like, because I work with a lot of VA buyers. The only thing right now, as far as being able to finance into the loan, is the VA funding fee. That's part of the closing costs. But so far, other than like, because that's the main issue right now with working with veterans using the VA loan, is that right now the Department of Veterans Affairs doesn't allow the veteran or the active duty member to pay commission or admin fee. So I know that part, the only thing right now that can be tied into their loan is the VA funding fee. I hope that answers.
Yeah, that's pretty much what I had heard too. I thought somebody else had said something like that it was going to be different. So I'm from the understanding that we won't be able to finance anything in, except of course the funding fee for FHA or VA.
Okay.
Thank you.
And those, yeah, you're welcome. And on those types of questions too, like if we're not able to answer it here in this group, let's utilize the Cheviron coaching community, the Facebook group that we have, and put those questions in there. And then because that community is growing, and, we might be able to get some good dialogue and good answers into that. So, thank you, everyone. Good session. I appreciate all the conversations and the input and dialogue and everything else. And again, feedback's always welcome. I appreciate you all. Have an amazing rest of the day, and we will see you next week.